I don't know if you can actually see this, but this just goes into a little bit more of the nitty-gritty with the different programs. If you have a model that has limited distribution, it's probably more suited to an emerging model. We don't have any limits in distribution for a TTM. If you have a proprietary model, you're not marketing it, but for either of the emerging models or the Taconic transgenic models, we handle all of that marketing. We handle all of the order processing for those two programs and the invoicing, so it takes a significant burden off. It really differs in production costs, so for a proprietary model or emerging model, those costs are borne by the sponsor, whereas we accept that responsibility for a commercial model that we would in-license. And so again, you have cost recovery for an emerging model and that you get 80% of that sales price, whereas if you license to us, you get return to royalty. So the best distribution pathway is really going to be different for each specific model. It could change throughout the life cycle of the model, and my job is really to help people evaluate what that would be for each model. So I know you're just probably seeing some dollars. We can consider a couple of different business cases. One would be an emerging model, which again is the sort of development phase model. One would be what would be sort of a mid-range typical TTM, one of these commercial models, and one that would be a blockbuster TTM. I hate to break it to you, most mouse models are not blockbusters. There's very few transgenic mouse models that sell anywhere near $1 million a year. That's just the nature of the business. So there is money there. We're never going to make the same kind of revenues that Lipitor is going to. It's not the same thing. So this is a hypothetical case. So there's some assumptions here. This is just some economic modeling. I have this calculator. I'm very happy to share it with anybody who would want. You can really plug in numbers, and the more you know about your own model, the better numbers you're going to get out of here, the more realistic numbers. So there's some assumptions here. This is an emerging model, which in year one, we re-derived and started production. So of course, there's fewer mice for sale available. The colony is sized to produce 5 mice per sex per week, so 520 mice per year. This is going to be a homozygous by homozygous colony, so you have limited genotyping costs. The study size and colony size remain constant, and we haven't factored in any sort of cost or price increases. This is just sort of a ballpark figuring. And so let's say it costs $10,000 or $11,000 to maintain your colony per year. That's a pretty reasonable cost for a very small colony. In year one, maybe you have 5 users, you have 5 requests, and you said, okay, I'm going to put in the emerging models program. You think they're going to try 3 studies and they're going to use 10 mice per study. So that gives you some indication of how many mice are going to be sold. If you price it at $50 per mouse, which is a pretty reasonable cost, I think you could certainly go higher, and we do for all of our commercial models, that first year you're not going to make any money. You're just going to be recovering some of your costs. But you have animals left over for your own use. Hopefully in year 2 and 3, some additional users come on. They've seen some papers that have been published. Maybe they do some extra studies. It becomes a more useful model. And so you can see that as the model grows, you actually can make some money on this. That's certainly not guaranteed, and I would never say that it would be guaranteed if you enroll your model. My job is really to help you understand the price point and the market and identify some realistic expectations. Here's a case study. These are actual numbers for an actual line. I won't tell you which one it is. But it's an immunology model, and this actually has a primarily academic market. This one's sold at $30 a mouse. So we're actually selling significant numbers of mice. And the revenues for 2006 were in the range of $16,000, which is not too bad. So you can see if you raise the price and limited breeding rights, this model actually has unlimited breeding rights, so you could actually possibly sell more even. This would be what we would call a typical TTM, Taconic transgenic model. This is an inflammatory disease model. It's used both by academic researchers and by pharmaceuticals to screen compounds. Again, it's one of these baby boomer diseases. And so this is a model we would consider to have good sales. And you see it's at about $140,000. So those may not be quite the numbers you were thinking of, but there's definitely a market there. And we can definitely, we do make money at it. So just because it's not Lipitor doesn't mean that it's not worth commercializing. And then there are those models that we can make some significant money on. This is one of those short-term carcinogenicity models that I was talking about. Again, you see that there is some risk of inconsistent sales, and so we have to be able to produce, have animals ready, even though they may not call up next week and buy them. But again, we're in the range of $2 million here. So this is what we would consider a blockbuster, is probably nearing the upper limit of a commercial transgenic model. And again, this is the type of model that we would in-license and return royalties. So I think you can see that a model that has broad appeal and multiple applications are certainly best. If you have a very specific, one gene that you're looking at that only 2 other people are studying and it's not related to a disease or to drug development, you can see that that may not have a huge market, even though there's probably requests from other investigators. We do evaluate models that are in our emerging models program each year for licensing as a TTM, so I don't want you to think that you kind of put it there and give up. That's certainly not the case. And it definitely is a platform for models to develop. And that's really my job, is to help you understand the value of your models. And like I said, my business cards are over there, so I'm definitely willing to accept submissions, have a chat on the phone. We do evaluate these in a formal process. But definitely give me a call or give your area technical representative a call. I'd be very happy to help you with that. So, thank you.